Well, hello guys, hope you're all doing well and welcome to the Olympics National Park in the USA. Fantastic to be here. We've had a couple of trying days, let's say, but we're finally sort of working our way down the coastline now and into the national park. So we can finally kind of look around and get something and get started on the photography that we've come here for. Adam's back at the campsite at the minute, just getting some rest. We're going to grab some tea, a bite to eat a little bit later, but I've come out for a walk now just to kind of get a feel for the area and see what there is. But as you can see, there's these absolutely stunning forests with all this hanging moss, beautiful massive fir trees. So much to explore in this area. It's an absolutely massive national park. So we're starting off here. We might spend a few days in this location. So we'll get a few videos from this area. See what there is to shoot, see what we can find and do a bit of exploration really. Been really looking forward to this trip because it's one of these places that I've never actually visited. It's been on the bucket list to kind of come and check it out because the place looks stunning. Obviously I've been to Vancouver Island before, but I wanted to get more of a feel of what this West Coast has to offer. So I think this area is really going to deliver on that. But yeah, gonna have a bit of an explore. Catch up with Adam when he wakes up and then we'll start exploring and see what we can find. So guys, this is the first shot that I really want to concentrate on, and this is this waterfall through this beautiful wooded gorge. It's absolutely stunning, but we're losing a little bit of light in here now because we're quite deep inside. Hopefully you can hear what's going on with the water rushing past me. The sun's still quite high, but because we're so deep in this valley, it's still pretty dark. So I'm kind of having to up the ISO slightly. I'm going to press record on the back of here so you can view what I'm seeing. There we go, you should see it now. So I'm using a 4:3 aspect ratio because I want to capture as much of this scene as possible. You can see my focus point is just off to the left hand side of the frame there on a log that's going down into the water beneath me. I'm just focusing on that. I really like the sheen that's coming off that log, so I want to really incorporate that. Also, just on this tree on this left hand side here, there's this fern that's sticking out. Now I'm having to watch shutter speeds there because obviously with the backdraft that's coming up from the water, it's moving this foliage. So I'm wanting to keep the water speed somewhere around 1/4 of a second if possible, because I find that that's leaving enough texture in that with the amount of water that's flowing over the top, but really having to concentrate that that foliage isn't blowing too much. You kind of get lulls where it doesn't move, so I'm capturing the shot at that point. Now, as well as that, you've got this bridge running along the top, and obviously you've got lots of visitors coming through here. So I'm also having a time when there's no visitors on that bridge, because I find it, although it adds scale, I find it a little bit distracting. So my settings are, at the minute, ISO 400, and I'm at 1/4 of a second at f16, focusing on this log going down into the water there. And I'll grab this shot now. Now, although it's nice to get that first shot in, it's also great, I find, when I come to a new location like this, is to really take time to absorb the surroundings that you're in. because I find it quite difficult to adjust sometimes because you're seeing different things than you're used to. It just takes a little while to kind of almost fit into your surroundings. So take that little bit of time just to sit, watch what's happening around you with light, the different kinds of foliage, the different types of trees. Just take time to absorb your surroundings. I think it's really important to do that. It's not all about getting that photograph, kind of be in the moment as well. And I think that helps to kind of almost create more creativity and help you sort of focus on what you're trying to achieve. So as you can see, we're kind of losing light now, but you can see these white flowers all around me here. And I've seen them photographed quite a lot, and they're actually called bunchberry, and they're absolutely beautiful. You've got these white flowers, lovely star-shaped leaves, and I think they're going to be a fantastic subject. So tomorrow morning, when the light picks up again, we're going to come in early. I want to see what else we see on a second visit to this area in the morning, but I really want to focus in on these and try and make an image, maybe a square crop, something like that. Yeah, I think they're a fantastic subject, so I want to spend some time on these. So what I'll do is we'll catch up with you in the morning and hopefully get back to these and find some sort of shot to work with. Well, good morning guys. So we've come back down to this area that I showed you last night, and it's early in the morning and we're trying to get these shots before the sun really comes up above these trees, because it's going to cast a lot of light over all these plants here, and I kind of want them a flatter sort of colour. I don't want too many highlights and distractions going on. You want to kind of keep it as simple as possible, and I don't want anything to kind of destroy that. I've been wandering around here looking for compositions, and it's really quite difficult because you kind of look for a grouping of these plants together that really work together really well. And what I'm finding is I'm trying to find contrasts, and by that I mean I either want like a darker background to set these plants off against, or I want some different foliage in amongst it to kind of not only give texture but add a little bit of interest with, you know, different foliages. So what I've actually found is down here is there's some of these lovely ferns around here, and they're really fine ferns, really intricate, and they work really well with these plants. They look so nice. So what I'm going to do is just press record on the back of here so you can see what I'm looking at. Now I've got this set up as a square crop at the minute, and you have to bear in mind that I'm limited with the 150 to 200 on this GFX. I can't get in too close. I haven't got extension tubes or anything like that with me at the minute. So what I'm having to do is focus in as close as I can possibly get, and then I'm probably going to have to crop it in post. But that's the good thing with this, at least I've got that room to be able to crop in. Anyway, what you should see on the back of the camera is I've got it set up as a square crop. I've got my focus point right in that sort of central third there, and you can just see that fern right in the middle of the frame there, and I've centered it in the middle of the frame because I want to give myself enough room to come right in and crop into it. I've got those groupings of those plants right the way around that fern there, and what I like about it is they kind of swirl round almost. The fern swirls round, and then you've got those lovely white flowers standing out around it, adding sort of texture and interest around there. Now, because it's so calm and still in here this morning, I don't have to worry too much about shutter speed at all because there's nothing moving. So with that in mind, I'm at ISO 100 to get the cleanest image possible. F16 at a second is what I'm sitting at the minute. But as I say, there's no movement whatsoever. There's not even a breath of air at the minute, so it's not too bad. So yeah, just taking this shot, and I'm just kind of waiting to get the flattest light possible. The sun is starting to come through, and I don't want those streaks of light to kind of hit it and really complicate the scene. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting scene. Hopefully it's all worked out. I'll pop the image up now for you. Now I think it's really, really important just to work with what you've got, and by that I mean accepting your limitations. In my experience, with my particular photography equipment I've only got a 100 to 200 lens. I can't get close enough to some of these detail shots that I want to get to, or if I'm in the mountains I can't get tight enough to get the cloud detail shots, but I can still get them. And all I have to do is accept the fact that I can't get close enough and I have to crop in. And that's just one of those things. There's plenty of tools these days that help you out as far as that's concerned, and it can upscale the images you've got. So if you've cropped in and you're not exactly happy with the quality of the image you've got, you can always use Topaz or the tools in Lightroom or Photoshop to kind of upscale those images and bring them back again. There's no need to worry about it, it's just working with what you have. So now that I've got this shot in, I want to kind of explore this area a little bit more. I'm going to head further back up the trail and see if I can find some more of these plants to come up with a different composition for, because I want a couple of them at least to kind of play with when I get back in post. So I'm just going to look for variations, see what I can find, head up this trail, and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Now just walking along the trail, I noticed this little scene here as well, and I really like the way that this beautiful red tree trunk here sets this plant off. Now I'm not sure what the plant is, but I've seen it around before. It's got this beautiful star shape to it, but I really think it really pops against this beautiful tree here, and it's just a fantastic simple little scene. But as you can see, I'm having to back the camera off quite a way because you can see all the shadow that's being cast, and that's because the sun's directly behind the camera over that way. So I'm having to watch really where I'm positioned so that I'm not casting that shadow over the scene and causing real distractions. The other thing as well is because I've got the 100 to 200 on, I'm limited about how close I can get, and again that's just one of those things that I have to live with. But I'm kind of composing this so that I know that I'm going to have to crop it later on. Really, I want to get a nice sort of square crop of this, and I don't want too many distractions going on, so I want to simplify it as much as possible, and that means getting tighter in and closer in, and filling the frame with the actual star of the show, really. So knowing that, I'm going to get you to the back of the camera, set up the monitor so you can actually see how I'm composing it, and then I'll show you how far I'm going to actually crop in post later on. Right, so I'll hit record on the back of here now. There we go. So what you should see is I've got this set up as a square crop. Now what I'm also doing is making sure that I'm underexposing slightly, because when this light hits, obviously you've got a white flower, and that white flower tends to blow out slightly, so I always kind of underexpose that just to be on the safe side. Again, I'm not worrying about the shutter speed in here, because there's not a breath of air, so it doesn't really matter. I can keep it at ISO 100, get a nice clean image, and that's really one of the important things for me. So if I'm knowing that I'm going to have to crop in, I want to keep that ISO as low as possible so I don't introduce too much noise into the image. So that's just the way I work. In my head, that's what I kind of keep it as, and in these kind of conditions you can do that no problem at all. So that's that. So what I'm at is ISO 100 f16, and I think that's at 3 seconds as far as I can see, struggling to see on the back of there. And yeah, just making sure I underexpose that as the light changes. And actually I'm down at, there we go, I'm at actually 1/3 of a second now. The light changes so fast in here with the sunlight coming through, and again, you've got to really watch out for shadows getting in the way. But as you can see, I've centralized this image now. I've got the focus point actually on the white flower itself. Obviously there's branches and what have you that are casting shadows there, but there's not a lot I can really do about those. And then I'm just capturing the image. Now what I'll do is I'll bring that image up now, and you can see it's got beautiful light on there. And if I crop into it, I'll show you the kind of crop that I would be looking at. I want to fill the frame with as much of that plant as possible, but I can crop into it nicely there, and it looks fine to me. Yeah, it looks absolutely crisp. It looks really nice and clean. But obviously, I don't want to be too far away, because if I zoom back out of that image and you see the full image there's lots of distractions going on. So I already know that I need to crop in and simplify that image more. But it's not a problem to do that. It's just, I accept that's the way it is, work with what I have, and I just crop in and make sure that I can visualize what it's going to look like when it's cropped. That's the best way to describe it, is to align yourself with the composition so that you know you've got enough room to crop that in without causing any other distractions and elements that you didn't want in the frame. So, how did you get on? Really? Awful. I really like these plants because I've seen them loads before, but obviously never been in a place to shoot them.
Do they? I guess this bunchberry doesn't grow in the UK.
No, we don't have that. Obviously, loads of other different plants, but not these ones in particular. And they're really nice. The way they've got the 4 petals on them, they're really nice.
Yeah, I think they're actually related to the dogwood.
Right, okay. I'm not sure we have that either, to be honest.
Dogwood?
No, I don't think so.
You probably have ornamental ones in gardens and stuff, but not
probably
wild ones.
Yeah, and the ferns and everything here are really nice as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, the time of year is amazing because everything's so green and lush and...
It's vivid, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
So we came out, we must have been out about 3 or 4 hours this morning at least.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
Yeah. I could probably spend another 3 or 4 hours here, I think.
Yeah.
But my back was starting to hurt and I'm getting hungry, so I'm getting crouchy.
Yeah, I was just saying I don't find this particularly easy looking for compositions in amongst this, but it's just practice, innit? It's just about
when you're a master like me, you find things much easier.
All right, Adam. Yeah. No, it's been fun. Really enjoyed it this morning. It's been good to get out and start seeing the place. I always feel as though I need a couple of days to kind of get into an area.
Mm-hmm.
Start to see things.
I just need half an hour.
Yeah, well,
I know what you mean.
Well, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.